Today is an exciting day, not just because the Brett Favre documentary comes out this week on Netflix, but I'm going to share with you all for the first time my full journey to becoming an umpire. Over the last 30 days, you've seen a lot of content on my channel, mostly short videos about different elements and different aspects of being an umpire, both funny and entertaining, as well as educational. But I've been having Umpire Mike as a YouTube channel in mind for a while now. Some of the main reasons include that I feel like a lot of content about umpires and officiating um, doesn't necessarily cover the positive aspects of it. I know that there's running jokes about umpires being blind and missing calls in MLB games, and I'm not here to dismiss that umpires definitely do make mistakes and sometimes they can be pretty costly. I do recognize that, and obviously it's not the most fun part of our job, believe it or not. However, I do want my platform, Umpire Mike, to be used as a positive platform for showing what it takes to be an umpire, the different things that you can run into, but ultimately just to bring back the fun of being involved in the game. I've been involved in the game of baseball since I was 4 years old, mostly as a player. And then I actually had the opportunity to coach a little bit of baseball, but now I'm really only umpiring it. And I can definitely see that it is becoming one of the more rewarding experiences within the game of baseball itself. So, to give you some backstory on my umpiring experience, I started umpiring when I was 15 years old. I'm 22 now, about to be 23. So, I've been umpiring in total almost 8 years. But I started when I was 15 years old doing the local rec league within my hometown. Um, I didn't, I don't come from that traditional backstory of umpires, doing a camp or doing some sort of training. I kind of was just thrown into the fire with it. I really just needed a part-time job in the summer. It was paying $30 a game at the time, and to me that was good money for someone that had never had a job before. So immediately I jumped on it. I reached out to the umpire coordinator and said, "Yeah, I'm interested in umpiring," and that is where it all started. I started doing little league fifth and sixth grade games within my hometown, just trying my best to learn at a very fast pace. The training that I got before existed of an hour and a half at most of just being on a field with a couple other new umpires and the umpire coordinator just kind of walking us through some of the basics, balls and strikes, how to make the right calls. Nothing really advanced, nothing nowhere near to what I know now with knowledge of the game. It was really just um, elementary level education of this is what an umpire does and best of luck, essentially. So, but there's been a lot of learning and development from being thrown in the fire like that. It's forced me to pay attention, to listen, to be mentored by other umpires. It's forced me to, truly give give a lot of my time and efforts into the game itself. It's allowed me to, grow and rely on my own hard work and dedication. And so I honestly think that there are some positives from that. Now, do I recommend all people do that? Absolutely not. Not everybody can learn that way. There are some people that I think do need to go through that formal classroom, that formal one-on-one coaching. And I do think that one of the most important parts about being an umpire is mentorship. I think that umpires need to constantly be growing. There's never any point in my umpiring career where I've been able to look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm good. I have everything I'll ever need to know, and there's no more need for development. That just doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen in any job, really, but especially when you're officiating sports, there is always something to learn. Every game is different. There are a million things that can happen, and so being able to learn from your mistakes is one of the key skills to becoming an umpire. Now, to get back to my umpire story, so I started doing youth baseball in my hometown for about a year or so, and then I took a little bit of a break here and there, just working other jobs when I got to high school. But ultimately, I did get back into umpiring when I joined my first major league. It was a, a youth baseball league for the entire state of Wisconsin, where I'm from. So I got joined into that, and I was from there on doing about 2 games a week of league play, and then also doing tournaments on the weekends. And so I got my first experience doing youth tournaments. It's if you have umpired before, you know the feeling of doing 6 games in one day. It flies by. It really makes those league games feel like nothing when you get thrown into a summer tournament for a weekend. So from there, I got experience everything from U7, which is 7-year-olds, all the way up to high school. And then fast forward 8 years later, that has been the majority of my experience has been just doing all different ages. There's never really been once where I focused myself and limited myself to a particular age. Now, I will say recently I've done a lot more high school. I'm in high school season right now. Pretty soon I'll get entered in the youth season come summer. But I've honestly never really said no to opportunities. Now, do I have certain preferences? Yes. I tend to prefer doing high school U13, U14 games just because I do think it is better baseball, and it is the best way to truly develop. But there is a lot of rewarding experiences doing the younger kids. Oftentimes, there's more room for, just being able to speak one on one with the players about something they might be doing and being able to save them down the line of doing something that another umpire might not handle as well in the future. So you do get those unique opportunities when you do younger ages. And so I definitely don't regret doing any of the youth leagues that I did starting out. But I definitely now do prefer doing the older ages as well as high school. So over these 8 years, I have worked tournaments, I've worked youth games, I've worked high school games, and through it all, I've truly understood that in order to be the best umpire, you always have to be learning. You always have to look at mistakes you've made. I like to think of just using the drive home, whether it's a 20-minute drive home, whether it's a 40 or an hour drive home, using that drive home to reflect on the game, taking away some key things that maybe went well or maybe didn't go well is truly the best way that you're going to develop. Nobody likes to admit when they make a mistake. I get that. But when it comes to something like umpiring, it's the only way that you're going to get better because the last thing you want to do is to be comfortable in the status quo of, I'm an umpire that is going to get calls right and get calls wrong. And I'm going to be kind of mediocre on some of the definitions of certain terms or officiating enforcing certain rules in the game, and I'm okay with that. I think that's a terrible mentality to have. I think that the best umpires are the ones that challenge themselves to constantly get better, to constantly learn from, okay, when I saw this play happen, this is what I was looking for, this is maybe what I should have been looking for. Maybe I rushed a call, maybe I took too long to make a call. Those are the kinds of things that umpires need to recognize, because when you have umpires that really are just in it for the money, that are really just in it because they think it's an easy job, you really miss out on what umpiring can mean. Umpiring to me is a very fulfilling job because I'm a part of the game of baseball in a way that nobody else is. There's only anywhere from 1 to 4 umpires at a time, and you have a very unique responsibility when it comes to the game of baseball. So I've taken a lot of appreciation in that and being that person that enforces the rules. I mean, you can't have the game of baseball without umpires. I mean, sandlot recess ball is one thing, but when I'm talking about a real baseball game, you do need umpires there. And the goal is to make the game of baseball flow so smoothly that you don't even realize the umpires are there. That is the goal. But at the end of the day, we know that that's not always realistic. And so having those umpires that are there to enforce the rules correctly, to make sure that the game is flowing smoothly, make sure players are staying safe, which is a standpoint that I think gets lost at times. Those are ultimately the things that make the umpire rules so important. And so I hope that gives you some more background on, where my experience has led me today. I'm going to continue umpiring as long as I can. I don't necessarily see me slowing down anytime soon. Now, some weeks are busier than others. That's kind of one of the nice things about being an umpire is you do at times can make your own schedule. Ultimately, you decide how much you want to put in and how much you want to get out of it. So there's some weeks where I'm doing two league games and then a tournament. There's other weeks where I don't have any games. And so it's a very rewarding job. It's very good for having that work-life balance. For a lot of us, especially in the Midwest and in the North, it's only a seasonal job. We can't do it year-round. So making the most out of those game experiences is so important. And I'm looking forward to creating more content for you guys, both educational and entertaining. I think that both are important. And I really want to draw more attention because there is a crisis in this country when it comes to officiating youth sports. There are less and less people over time that are choosing to go into officiating youth sports, and a lot of it has to do with the sportsmanship. It has to do with being discouraged because of the conflicts that can evolve. And I'm hoping to continue to raise awareness to that, and I'm also hoping to continue to encourage those who might be turned off by that to keep your head up high. I mean, at the end of the day, you're doing a job. It's no different than going to McDonald's and getting upset that the ice cream machine's broken. I mean, at the end of the day, that worker really has nothing to do with that. And a lot of times, when umpires are in games and a certain call's made and it's a 50-50 call, someone's going to be upset. Now, there's a difference in missing calls, occasionally, or making a close call versus not knowing the rules and how to apply them effectively. There's definitely arguments there, and I'll touch on that in later videos. But the biggest advice I have is to just keep your head high. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody does, but it's those that learn from their mistakes and develop that truly separate the best umpires from those that are just there to get paid. So I wanted to share this video with you all to explain more about myself. Let me know in the comments what content you want to see. I do have some surprises in the works, and there will be more on that later on. But for now, I hope you guys have a great day and a great start to the week.